Welcome to Align Trading, going over the SPY recap and live analysis today. So first thing I explained in the morning was to be watching for this double top right here. And if we wanted to head down, be looking for this head and shoulder right there. And you can see right off of the open, we get this initial sell off and move to the downside with this tapering right here, as well as this head and shoulder that you can see right there. And from there, we are in the orange selling continuation. Now, like I mentioned, you must be watching for the purple buying continuation and for this to hold above 533 right here. Now, off the open, you can see that we did not do that and we lost this 533 right here with that selling. Now, with this 533 right here in the morning, if we were able to form a handle off of it and continue from there, we could have got this move earlier, but we needed this dip, and I'm going to talk about that. If you can see, since last Thursday, this yellow and blue algorithm right here has been bringing us up. So you had to still be paying attention to it, even though we were headed down and it looked like the selling was aggressive. I explained that until this green algorithm right here breaks, you cannot be looking for further downside. If we were able to grab it like this, then we could have headed down, but we were unable to break that. And you can see that we are still within the yellow and blue controlled selling right here. And we are able to form this inverse head and shoulder right there back off of that 533, which gives us this move up. So with this orange selling continuation you see right here, we start to taper with the blue algorithm. And from there, this inverse head and shoulder starts to form. Now, if you didn't take it off of that, that is okay. You could have waited for this to close right here, and you see this starting to form with the blue and yellow controlled selling on the way up, giving you these entries along the way right here. So there were several that you could have taken once again right here, and you get this move to this 535.69 level, which you can see is right here, and we were unable to break above that. Now, before testing this level right here, I explained at 952, you must be watching for the 5400 level on ES, as that is where the magnet is, and we are likely trying to head towards. And you can see that we came about 4 points short of it right here, and that was the top. We were never able to break back above with this inverse head and shoulder right there. Now, once we were unable to break through this and we started seeing this resistance right here, I explained I was down to only runners, and the only way to short this now was if we did not see that inverse head and shoulder I was mentioning, to be looking for this inverse cup starting to close right here, and you can see this liquidity on the way down, which we grab. Now, I did not take this to the downside, but you can see that we are tapering right here, as well as this head and shoulder is starting to form, and there's a small inverse cup. Now, if you missed the move, I explained you had to be watching this inverse cup actually close right here, which we never did, and we never got below this 531.34 level, and instead you had to be watching still for us to head back up. And you can see how we grab this right here for a small move. Now from here, I explained, be watching for it to close this cup right here if we are able to form this and continue moving higher, grabbing that on the way up. Otherwise, be watching for this inverse cup right here. And you can see it took some time to form, but eventually we do grab this shoulder right here. You can see that it tries to hold that, and there could have been a trade right there with this inverse cup, but once again, we are unable to form this handle to head back down, and we never see that full inverse cup close and the continuation of selling. Now you can see throughout the day here, we are still within this yellow and blue controlled selling algorithms right here, as well as unable to break this green, so there is no downside. We are never grabbing this liquidity right here and closing that. Now, after this failed handle right here, I explained to be watching for us to form this inverse head and shoulder, as well as this cup and handle back above that 534 level, but we are unable to, even with this controlled selling right here, regain this and move higher, and instead we begin to close this inverse cup right here, and you can see that there is an entry right off of there if you took this to the downside. So once again, with the market being so choppy ahead of anticipation of PPI tomorrow, we close this inverse cup and we even crack this level, but once again, there is no handle. You can see we are unable to ever head back down and give that actual dump. Now, here at the end of the day, I explained to be watching for these two last things, either for this to start forming right here, and you can see how we're starting to close that inverse cup right here. Once again, there is no handle, but you could have taken this right here. There is that entry here. You could have taken right this. There's this inverse cup and handle there as well. So you can see the move, but if you did not get involved in this chop either, totally fine. So ahead of PPI, you see we remain in this wedge for the entirety of the day. You can see on the 30-minute chart as well. So we will probably be gapped up or down in the morning with the noose and break out of this wedge, but I'm going to explain what to be watching from there. So what we have to pay attention to tomorrow is this 5-day moving average. If we are starting with a gap down, understand that we can grab all of this liquidity right here, and from there you will be wanting to see this 5-day moving average turn into resistance and forming something like this. If we are to dump, you can see we have all of this liquidity right here as well to do so. Now to the upside, like we've been mentioning with the blue and the yellow right here, be watching if we do finally get this breakout, and it can be pre-market if we start with the gap up. Say that does happen, be watching for this level right here, whether we do want to head back down and dump like that, or we do continue moving higher, filling this cup to this 20-day moving average. And from that 20-day moving average, we would need to, once again, that yellow and blue, see us form something like that and continue moving higher. Now, if I zoom out some, you can see how we are trying to form this cup right here. And if we do need to build more liquidity, say off of this 5-day moving average, so we start with a gap down and from there we start doing something like that. This is possible as well. That's why you need to see that 5-day become resistance. And from there, we can try closing this inverse cup. You can see that we are still within this green right here. Now, like I was mentioning in the last video, be paying attention to this declining volume as we are rising. This is not a bullish sign, so if we do want to head back down, be looking for that 5-day moving average to turn into resistance, and we can continue closing this larger inverse cup right here, as well as this 200-day moving average retest. Now, if we are going to continue higher, you need to see us regain this 20-day moving average right here, and from there can close this cup. Otherwise, you still have to be watching if this is some sort of resistance and we want to head down like that. So just be paying attention to these things going into tomorrow and the rest of the week. But that is going to wrap up the video. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see members in the morning.